Hello, BookTube. I've got a Tuesday MegaStuff video for you here, a collection of all sorts of little odds and ends that really might not make a whole video on their own. This has been an absolutely horrible last 2 days, and I apologize ahead of time in this video for any slurping or tearing up or anything like that. But the first item of business that we should have for our MegaStuff video is, of course, babies. I put out a call a while ago for you to take pictures of your Shakespeare for ShakeTube. And I added that if you want to take pictures of your dogs with your Shakespeare, I won't object. And plenty of you did, but plenty of you have also taken pictures of your cats with your Shakespeare, and also just your cats alone, and also your dogs alone, and I'm okay with all of it. It's become a wonderful feature. It's something I look forward to every day. And we have a great variety of pictures to look at today, and quite a few of them are cat pictures. Look at this creature, stretched out across all those great books. And here's one curled up on the couch. Look at that, with Dune and Wolf Howl heavily annotated right there next to. And here we have a cat watching me on a big screen TV, watching a previous MegaStuff video. I swear, I've said this many, many times before, but I honestly don't know how any of you can stand to look at this face at that magnitude. I really don't. But another point I want to point out in this particular picture is the slight but present danger involved. Has the person who sent this picture actually gone through the default settings on that plasma screen TV to make sure it isn't recording them? Audio and visual. The default settings are that it is recording you. Have you actually gone through the default settings and made sure that it is not? Have you actually gone through the connections to make sure that even if you set the default settings and do not record, it isn't still doing that? And also, this device down in the corner is one of those automated room cleaners. They do a terrible job. They don't actually do even a fifth as good a job as a simple whisk with a broom. And they're not meant to do a good job. The key thing they're meant to do by their manufacturers is harvest data about you. And with those automated room cleaning devices, often you can't stop them from doing that. The best thing to do is just to take the power source out of them and throw them away. Because they are mapping when you're home. They're mapping what you say. Most of them are equipped with the means to record you, the audio to record you. So right in this picture, just alone, we have, I don't know anything about the thermostat. It might be a guilty party too. But just in this room, we have two devices that are probably harvesting data that you shouldn't let harvest data. Even if the data is not put to any harmful effect at all, your data is still yours. You should start to treat it as a very high value currency. It is, in fact, in the 21st century, the most valuable thing you will ever produce. It is the currency of the world. Money is just a backstop. So there's naturally that part of my mind made me wonder about those two devices in this picture. And we also have dogs. This time around, here is a birthday dog who this picture gives you a perfect illustration of what dogs actually think when you put something weird on their head. That is a perfect demonstration of what dogs think when you do that. No matter how much you might convince yourself that they understand or that they want to do something to please you or that they're not bothered by it, that is a perfect demonstration of what they actually feel when you do that. Clothing, hats, eyeglasses, whatever it is, they'll put up with it for you, but they don't like it. Take my word for it. And the last thing I want to show you here, the last picture that I want to show you, this sender sent pictures of Sunny, who is going to be 16 in October. This sender referred to the dog as a heart dog. I'd never heard that before, that term. But I know what it means, and all of you dog owners out there know what it means as well. We love them all. We'll do anything for them. We'll go to any lengths, sacrifice anything for their needs. But every once in a great while, one comes along that isn't like the others. One comes along that gets far deeper into your heart, all the way through your heart. A heart dog is a very good term for that. I've had 3 in my life. And I've had innumerable dogs. So that gives you an idea of how rare they are, at least for me. And here is our baby. I am told that this dog can no longer walk, but is happy to be carried anywhere. And I think that's just great. And I want to show you, I want to finish up the cavalcade of babies here by showing you the picture of the day that is almost certainly going to be the picture of the week. Look at that face. Oh my. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, little one. How I wish I could greet you in person. How wonderful. So that is your cavalcade of babies for today. I wish I had more updates for you on all sorts of other fronts, but the days have been miserable, so there aren't any. There's no tech update except for the mildest kind. I showed you the that SanDisk thumb drive that will work on an iPad. It has a Lightning port connector, so you can plug it into an iPad, transfer information onto there, and then transfer that information somewhere else. I was busy wrestling with that thing this whole time, mainly to find out if it could access files inside of apps. I still haven't figured out a way to make it do that. But I thought, as I mentioned the last time, I thought even if I can't do that, I can upload book files directly to this app and see, directly to this device, and see if it will move stuff between devices. And it occurred to me, I was obsessing so much on getting content out of the Amazon app or the Nook app that I hadn't yet actually sat down and tried to see whether or not that other process would work. I hadn't yet sat down and tried to see whether or not this SanDisk drive can actually transfer data between devices. So I did that. I waited until I got a new ebook, something that I was sure wasn't on any iPad, and I uploaded it straight to the SanDisk drive. And then I removed the drive from the machine where I had uploaded it and plugged the drive into some other machine, and there it was. So that part does definitely work. That it definitely transfers data between devices. That's fantastic. That's a big advance right there. And I will continue to play around with that thing. But the only other tech update that I would have isn't going to be here for a few days. I mentioned that in addition to this SanDisk drive, that may be a solution to a lot of problems. So I can fill that with ebooks and pictures and whatnot. I can fill it with material. And now I know that I can use it to transfer that material between any devices. So there's no longer any need for me to bump my head against the storage capacity of any iPad, because I can just plug this thing into the iPad and upload anything I want directly onto the drive rather than onto the iPad. So I'm not using any more of that storage. The one problem with that is that it's inelegant. It's a second piece of technology. It's something I have to remember. It's something I have to plug in. When I would rather, in addition to that, have a device with enough internal memory so that I don't have to worry about it. And I realized that the way to do that, there were two ways to do that. I thought of buying an iPad with a large amount of internal storage, and maybe while I'm at it, spend a little bit of extra money to make it a newer iPad, something that's not as likely to be outdated. And then a number of you suggested that another solution to that would be to get an Android device that has expandable memory, so that you know, it can still be a new Android tablet, but it will always have the ability to expand memory up to 1 terabyte. So in the natural American fashion, I decided the best way to make sense of what I actually prefer is to do both. is to buy both. And I'm a little bit chary of that kind of expense, even though I looked right away at my little liquid bank account and realized it could easily do it. I still don't. There's still something Irish bog trotter about me, so I am not going to do that all at once. So I ordered a newish iPad with a lot of internal storage, and I figured as long as because the internal storage is what drives up the price on those things. That's what you're paying for. I figured as long as I'm in for a penny, I might be in for a pound. So I ordered a smart keyboard as well. And once I have that and I'm used to it, and once I'm absolutely sure, I am, in fact, keep in mind, looking for one device to rule them all. If that turns out to be that one device, then I don't need to worry about an Android device. But I have a feeling that there'll be one or two aspects of what I'm looking for that it doesn't do, no matter how well it does the others. So I want to get that first, let buyer's remorse wear itself out, and then I will buy an Android tablet, probably with a smart keyboard of its own, and with maybe an extra storage drive card. Maybe I'll get a large memory card for that Android device. And that's just as well that I stagger these things, because I have a lot of history with the iPad, going all the way back to the beginning. And I don't with Android devices. So with Android devices, I need to do a huge amount of research on YouTube in order to figure out which one I want. Several of you have been very nice sending me links about your own Android devices or descriptions of them. That's wonderful. That helps a lot. Keep that coming. But I want to do a huge amount of research before I drop a large amount of money. But I don't have a tech update for you because I'm still playing around with the SanDisk drive. That was a good purchase. That gives me a lot of possibilities that I didn't have before. But my iPad isn't going to arrive for days yet. So I do, however, have a pile of mail here. So I figure we just go through that. It's not even just a couple of books. Every day now that we've done mail, we've had a couple of books. This is actually close to being an old style pile of stuff. So let's see what this first one is. This is a public space book. I don't know what that is. I don't think I've ever dealt with these people before. Public space. It's going to be a $26 book in mid-January, so it's a 2021 book. And it is W3, a memoir by Betty Howland, which doesn't have, I don't think that's going to be the cover. The cover just has what looks like an excerpt. For a long time, it had seemed to me that life was about to begin, real life, but there was always some obstacle in the way. Something to be got through first, some unfinished business. Time still to be served, a debt to be paid. Then life could begin. At last it had dawned on me that these obstacles were my life. Okay. All right, well, that's bad. But that's just a placeholder. I imagine that won't be the cover. For a long time, it had seemed to me that life was about to begin. Then the rest of the paragraph says that it didn't seem that way. That it was one obstacle after another. So it didn't seem like life was just about to begin. And for a long time, it seemed to me that life was about to begin, real life. There's no good reason why you can't just put the adjective in front of the first use of life instead of repeating it like that. Unless that is the rhythm of transcribed speech. Written language doesn't require repetition of the word life in that line. I also don't understand the use of the pluperfect in that line either. It should just be the straight past. Something to be got through first, some unfinished business, time still to be served, a debt to be paid. If these things are true, then it wouldn't have seemed to you like life was about to begin. That's what that feeling is reserved for when those things aren't there. But let's see what this is before the only reason that I'm on it is because it's on the front cover, but it won't be in the finished copy. Let's see here. In 1968, the author was 31, a single mother of 2 young sons, struggling to support her family on the part-time salary of a librarian, and laboring at her typewriter to be a writer. One afternoon, while staying at her friend Saul Bellow's apartment, not a bad friend to have if you're struggling to be a writer, she swallowed a bottle of pills. And this book is both a portrait of the community at Ward 3, the psychiatric wing of the Chicago hospital where the author was admitted, and the record of a defining moment in her life as a writer. The book itself would be her salvation. She wrote herself out of the grave. That's fascinating. That's fascinating. W3 was published in 1974, and among the author's contemporaries, feels resonant with Richard Yates's Revolutionary Road and Raymond Carver's work. As we continue to exist in a kind of collective quarantine, W3, with its account of life cut off and isolated, also feels of the moment. In conversation with the, quote, wave of testimonies that, as Perul Segal described recently, represent a struggle in real time to give language to a set of emotions that are, as yet, painfully nameless. Okay, all right. Well, I don't know this publisher, and this is a reprint of a much older work that I don't know at all. So that's great. That's fantastic. I will not be reading this until the new year. Of course, it's a January release. It's 2021. There will be no book carrying over from 20 until 21. But it's a great place to start. So let's see what this next one is. It'd be great if 2021's reprint culture was as strong as 2020's. 2020's has been great. Let's see here. All right, this next one is also from a smaller publisher, Restless Books. I have sometimes dealt with them. What have we got here? This is coming out. Oh, it's out already? Yeah, it's out already. This is a finished copy of The Memory Monster. Translated from the Hebrew by Yarden Greenspan. This is by Yishai Sarid. The Memory Monster. Written as a report of the chairman Yad Vashem, Israel's memorial to the victims of the Holocaust, our unnamed narrator recounts his own undoing. Hired as a promising young historian, he soon becomes a leading expert on Nazi methods of extermination at concentration camps in Poland during World War II and guides tours through the sites for students and visiting dignitaries. He hungrily devours every detail of life and death in the camps and takes pride in being able to recreate for his audience the excruciating last moments of the victims' lives. The job becomes a mission and then an obsession. Spending so much time immersed in death, his connections with the living begin to deteriorate. He resents the students lost in their iPhones, singing sentimental songs, not expressing sufficient outrage at the genocide committed by the Nazis. In fact, he even begins to detect in the students as well as himself a hint of admiration for the murderers. Their efficiency, audacity, and determination. Force is the only way to resist force, he comes to think, and one must be prepared to kill. Look at all the turns this thing is taking. With the perspicuity of Kafka's The Trial and the obsessions of DeLillo's White Noise, Memory Monster confronts difficult questions that are all too relevant to Israel and the world today. How do we process human brutality? What makes us choose sides in conflict? And how do we honor the memory of horror without becoming consumed by it? All three of those questions take on an unbelievable, complicated, almost hypocritical urgency when you think about Israel and Palestine. Okay, fantastic. Well, so this is yet another, talking about another trend here. Translated literature in 2020 has just been through the roof. This came out originally in 2017. Okay, the original title was a little different, a little bit better, but that's okay. So this is coming out. It's out already in bookstores. I don't know what kind of distribution in America Restless Books gets, but it's $20. This is $20, and it is the English language debut of a celebrated Israeli novelist. Okay, fantastic, great. So who is this person? What is his name again? Yeshai Sarid was born and raised in Tel Aviv in 1965. Okay, he wasn't raised in 1965. He is the son of a senior politician and journalist. And between 1974 and 1977, he lived with his family in the northern town of Kiryat Shimona, near the Lebanon border. He was recruited into the Israeli army in 1983 and served for 5 years. During his service, he finished the IDF's officers' school and served as an intelligence officer. Studied law at the Hebrew University in Jerusalem, worked for the government. Nowadays, he's an active lawyer and arbitrator, practicing mainly civil and administrative law. His law office is located in Tel Aviv. Alongside his legal career, he writes literature, and so far he has published 5 novels. So this is the first one to be translated. Okay, this is fascinating, and it's out already. So I have all the excuse I need to read it today. That is great. I have a friend who a couple of years ago took a tour of Auschwitz, and she was horrified that there were people in her tour group who were on their cell phones. That rings true. That detail rings true. She was horrified. She couldn't wait to email me about it. But some of the psychological turns that plots seem to make right there in that description, yeah, I'll be reading this today, definitely. And it's yet another work of translation. That is a huge list. Even on camera, I probably got 200 of them this year. So what is this next one? Also a finished copy. Oh, fantastic. Okay, fantastic. I've already read this, but I'm going to read it again. Fantastic. This is Jack by Marilyn Robinson, our greatest living writer. And I'd be willing to bet, what have we got here? Yeah, okay. Okay. There are two pages to the pub sheet, and there is nothing in this to describe the book. Instead, it is all blurbs, and in this case, it just couldn't be more impressive. They start off with, in what is in many ways the most impressive thing of all, which is if you can sweep the advanced critical journals with starred reviews. Most book review journals wait until around the date of the book's publication in order to run a review, positive or negative. But there are a handful of professional reviews, Library Journal, Book List, Publishers Weekly, Kirkus, that run reviews as soon as they get these things. They are used by librarians and school administrators and whatnot, even book section editors, to determine what kind of buzz there is around a book, whether or not it sounds interesting for acquisition and whatnot. And they are stern. A lot of those they are not industry cheerleaders at all. Those reviews are stern. And whether or not a review gets a star is entirely up to the reviewer. So if you can get even one starred review, that's something. If you sweep them with starred reviews, that's even more. And this has a starred review in Publishers Weekly, a starred review in Book List, a starred review in Kirkus Reviews, and a starred review in the Library Journal. They start with that. But then we go on to blurbs. You have, and it's just a lineup of some fantastic. You've got Michael Derda, you've got Christian Lorenzen, you've got Barack Obama, Robert McCrum, Mona Simpson. Who else here? Yes, okay, Ron Charles, Scott Esposito, Michiko Kakutani, Sam Sachs, Leslie Jameson. So this gives you an idea. It's a wise choice on the part of the publisher here to just have blurbs, because really, what needs more to be said about this author? It's the new Marilynne Robinson novel. She's not going to drop the ball, and she doesn't in this book. Very gentle, very much subdued colors all throughout. But I can't wait to read it again. That's fantastic. Okay, I have a finished copy. I didn't think I was going to get one. I have a finished copy of this. This, I believe, is out already. No, this comes out at the end of September. It will get reviewed everywhere. I'm glad to have a finished copy, though. I will go at it again, pencil in hand this time. What else have we got here? See, we're still barreling on. We're not done yet. There's even a box at the end of this thing, so that's good. What have we got next here? What have we got next? What is this? Some sort of invoice. Steve doesn't want an invoice. Not really. We don't have any Bean Patrol today. She's here. You can see her. She's sound asleep on the bed. I can't do it though. It'd be like I'm scratching my back because she's pressed against the small of my spine. But she just didn't feel like being involved here. Oh, fantastic. Okay, great. This is another book I've read. I read it an e-copy, and now I have a finished copy, and I will study the finished copy. That is great. Fantastic. This is by Chris Stedman, and it's called IRL, Finding Realness, Meaning, and Belonging in Our Digital Lives. And that is what, let's see, let me give you a description. I don't have a pub sheet, but that's all right. This involves all of you. I think you should get this book or request it for your library or whatever. It's easy and reflexive to view our online presence as fake, to see the internet as the space we enter when we aren't living our real offline lives. Yet so much of who we are and what we do now happens online, making it hard to know which parts of our lives are real. And as I've mentioned on this channel many, many times, there's a very easy way to solve that problem. A very easy way. Simply be real everywhere. Am I supposed to say that all of you are not my friends because we've made our friendships exclusively online? Absolutely not. You might want me to say that for obvious social reasons, but I will not at all. I use IRL only ironically. I think there's no other real way to go about it since virtual technology has infiltrated every part of our lives. So you just have to be real everywhere. That is the only other alternative to that is to construct a variety of personae and inhabit them and swap them off like hats on your head, and that's not healthy. Let's see. Let me yield the stage back to the actual author of the book. IRL, Chris Stedman's personal and searing exploration of authenticity in the digital age, shines a light on how age-old notions of realness, who we are and where we fit in the world, can be freshly understood in our increasingly online lives. Stedman offers a different way of seeing the supposed split between our online and offline selves. The internet and social media are new tools for understanding and expressing ourselves, and the not always graceful ways we use these tools can reveal new insights into far older human behaviors and desires. IRL invites us to consider how we use the internet to fulfill the essential human need to feel real, a need many of us once met in institutions but now seek to do online, on our own, as well as the ways we edit or curate ourselves for digital audiences. The digital search for meaning and belonging presents challenges, Stedman suggests, but also myriad opportunities to become more fully human. In the end, he makes a bold case for embracing realness in all its uncertainty, online and off, even when it feels risky. And boy, oh boy, does he ever! This is. I mean, now that I have a finished copy, I will read it again. But this is terrific and incredibly thought-provoking. Well worth your time, because this is not somebody else's problem. This is not just for the great phrase that has gone around on Twitter for years now, is people who are extremely online. This is not just about them. And also, there's less and less of a useful distinction between people who are extremely online and you or me. There's less and less of a useful distinction between those two. If you consult the internet, connect with the internet, represent yourself on the internet, what, once an hour? Every day? Once every 2 hours? Several times an hour? If you do that, then you are extremely online. And this book is one of the best studies of what that actually means on a personal level that I think has ever been written. And as you know, if you watch this channel, I try hard to read a lot of these books. I find the whole thing fascinating. I remember when technology creeped along. I remember when it did. I remember when it creeped along. I remember when it was a huge deal when the rabbit-eared television set, the cathode ray television set that we had, suddenly got a fourth station. That was a huge deal. And then it got a fifth station. But it was a creeping process, absolutely creeping process. Now, this is affecting humans in ways that have yet to be seriously studied in a quantitative way. I think that those studies are just in their infancy. This way, this other reality that this book, and I would argue, is not really all that much of a separate reality. There's all sorts of complicated things going on here. But you putting on your internet game face is no longer even a partial description of what those things are. So that's fantastic. And now I have the finished copy. So we have a dust jacket. That is our author. Don't let his mewling youth confuse you, because it doesn't come through in his prose at all. Let's see what we have to know about him. He's an activist, community organizer, and writer, and is the author of Faithist, How an Atheist Found Common Ground with the Religious. He has written for The Guardian, The Atlantic, Pitchfork, BuzzFeed, and Vice, and has appeared on CNN, MSNBC, and PBS. Formerly the founding executive director of the Yale Humanist Community, he also served as a humanist chaplain at Harvard University and is currently adjunct professor in the Department of Religion and Philosophy at Augsburg University in Minneapolis, Minnesota. He's an atheist on a theological department. So that's fantastic. Great. Very glad to have this. I think that I am reviewing this for somebody. Having a hard time remembering. I just did review it for you, but I strongly recommend it. And I don't have a pub sheet, so I don't have a date, but it's sometime in September. It's a very strong recommend, but I think I'm writing a review of it for somebody. I just can't off the top of my head remember who. So, but anyway, now we'll move on. We've got one more package here, and then the box. This next package is it's a priority mail envelope, and it's got tape in all the wrong places, so I'm thinking it might be from one of you, which would ruin our streak. We've been on a wonderful streak on this channel of all of you refraining from sending me presents in the mail, because that's not how parasocial relationships are supposed to work, right? You're not supposed to send me books or gifts in the mail, right? We had a week-long stretch. It was wonderful where that was not happening, and I was very proud of you all. So what has happened here? Have you lost your self-control? Is that it? Did you lapse? Did you think, no, I know what you said, but you have to have this? Oh no. Oh, here I was bawling you out for nothing. Oh no, this isn't that at all. Oh wow. Okay, this is very unexpected. This is the pricey Apple Smart Keyboard that I was talking about. It must have got to me early, very early. I mean, when you place an order like this, they give you an estimated time of arrival, and we're not even close. Great. I mean, I'm not complaining, not at all. So, how can we? Let's take a look at this thing. It won't be a sexy tech unboxing like they do on all the tech channels. I watch so many tech channels, and they make an absolute fetish out of unboxing. Just, it's kind of ridiculous. But they do. What have we got here? Okay, so this is this instructions. The instructions came in a long, oblong box. Just a whole bunch of instructions in there. That's good. I'll want, it probably have stickers here as well. I'm going to want all the instructions I can get on this thing, because I'm sure a lot of it will be hidden. A lot of its features will be hidden. And this is the smart keyboard. You can see the lightning port connectors there. I got a 2019 iPad, what the BroTube channels hilariously refer to as an entry-level iPad, even though it's hundreds and hundreds of dollars. It's not an iPad Pro, and it's not the new iPad Air. It's not the latest technology for either one of those. But even so, it does have support for the Apple Pencil and a lightning connector for the Apple Smart Keyboard. So let's see how that works. Yes, there we go. So you lodge you attach the iPad to those lightning connectors. Now that means it's directly drawing power from the iPad, so there's no Bluetooth. And this is all heavily magnetic, and it's got multiple positions that you can put it in. So you attach the iPad in there, and then you've got all sorts of things that you can do. The main thing is to put it down on the keyboard like that, so that you're you need to put it like that, or you can put it like that, and that's magnetic, so it holds in place there. And here are the keys. Very low travel, very plasticky type keys. I figured when I was spending all the money on the iPad, I figured I might as well get the Magic Keyboard just to see, because if I want one device to rule them all, well, one of the things it's going to have to do is type. I type a lot, and right now, like everybody else, I have very little patience for the onboard keyboard of an iPad. It takes up half the real estate of the screen, and it doesn't have the give, the take, the muscle memory of an actual keyboard. So I don't tend to use it all that much. If I'm using a keyboard for an iPad, I've got the iPad mini here. If I'm using a keyboard for an iPad, usually I will do it, let's see here, just in terms of emails. So I'll be holding it in my hand, I'll be doing emails real quick. But for instance, let's see here. I know you know this already, but I feel like a real tech channel now. I'm a real tech channel. Here you've got Google Docs. You type the pen to make an addition, and there you've got this virtual keyboard that comes up, and it's not the most convenient thing in the world. So I figured if I have a convenient keyboard that I can use in addition to the iPad's normal iPad functions, then so much the better. And the nice thing about this one is that it folds up into I'm gonna have to get good at how to do it, but it folds up into an actual case, into a cover for the iPad. I just can't quite figure out how to do that. I think that might be it, or something like that. When the iPad is attached to it, it folds up so that the keyboard is actually part of the cover. I just need to figure out how that happens. I'm sure that the instructions will tell me. So that's great. It's a little bit frustrating because I have the smart keyboard cover now without having the iPad to attach to it, and it's lightning port, so it won't work with any of my other iPads. None of my other iPads have that. That was kind of a surprise on Apple's part to put the lightning port and the pencil support on an entry-level iPad, on the one that isn't the iPad Pro, that isn't the big deal. But anyway, then we have the box, the final box here. Oh God, which is hugely taped. Not. Take my little gang knife here and get rid of some of this taping. Oh, wait a minute. Oh my God, I just had an idea. What if the reason this is taped is because it's not just the smart keyboard that came early? What if the iPad came early as well? Wouldn't that be something? Oh my! All right, well, I guess we can hope. Let's take a look and see. I was debating back and forth, as you know, if you watch this channel, I was debating back and forth on what kind of iPad to get. I think the iPad is a miracle machine. I knew that I wanted that. So I was debating back and forth. I ruled out the iPad Pro, and the iPad Air didn't seem to me. It seemed to me to be too light. Oh, that's what it is. That's what it is. Look at that. Okay. Oh my. Okay, so I got this on eBay in the condition that was called open box. So it is allegedly brand new. Doesn't have any of the packing at all, but there it is. Wow. Slightly bigger. This is the iPad. It's the 7th generation 2019 iPad. Still has the old Fusion chip, the one that they were using on the iPad 7. But that is still strong enough. The point that they make over and over again, that Apple does, and all the users of this thing do, is that chip is still miraculously powerful, provided you don't want it to do the latest in cutting-edge video games, or multi-layer video editing, or studio effects, or anything like that. If you don't want it to do that, then it still works just fine. And here we have, look at that, the lightning connector right there. So this will connect to the keyboard. Yes. 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 Look at that. So we'll connect to the keyboard. And it's magnetic, so it's not just going to fall right off. Fantastic. Okay, that's going to take some getting used to. I'm going to have to learn how to type on that. You get your USB plug and connector here, all the usual stuff. The box has seen wars in a couple of different theaters, but that's all right. I'm not really going to care about the packaging. I'm not really going to care about anything else either, because I'm just going to. I will study the tutorials of this thing online. I think that's why Apple gets away with not having a huge amount of. I wonder if this has any power. Oh, it does. It does. Oh my, very nice. Well. Okay, Steve has a couple of hours set aside now. All right, great. So very early, far earlier than I was told, I have my new my new iPad, and the smart keyboard. So will this be the one device to rule them all? That is the question. We shall see. Okay, so you do have a tech update after all. I have new technology to play around with all afternoon. So we have IRL by Chris Stedman. Strong recommend. You should read. We have Jack by Marilyn Robinson. Strong recommend. You should read. Then The Memory Monster by Yishai Sarid. This is an Israeli novelist's first novel in English. And it sounds fascinating. Can't wait to get to it. Then W3, a memoir by Betty Howland. A reprint by Public Space Books of a book that came out 40 years ago. So 50 years ago. So that is the mail. Not a bad mail haul anyway, under normal circumstances, and new technology. An iPad and a smart keyboard for me to play around with. So I'm going to wrap this up for now, but I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.